Welcome back. So today's video, I'll be talking about the brand new Nitecore EDC27 UHi and how it differs from the original Nitecore EDC27. Let's talk about it. So right here is the EDC27 UHi and the previous EDC27. And I just want to say this isn't a full review of the EDC27 UHi. And why is that? Well, I already did an in-depth review on the original EDC27 right here. So if you guys missed that, I'll put that link down below in my description box. So it's cool if you guys want to click off this video and go watch that review. I don't care. But for those of you already familiar with the EDC27, let's talk about what these differences are and what they upgraded in the UHi version. And it's certainly not the body or aesthetics. As you guys can see, these are basically identical. I don't think they changed anything on the body here. You can see the same pocket clip, almost exactly the same body. Right down to the color too. You can see the exact same color. And just for the heck of it, if you guys don't believe me, the buttons look exactly the same, but there is a big change in the buttons with the new UHi that I'm a big fan of. But I'll get to that a little bit later on. Oh, and by the way, both of these are $89.95. So if you go with the original EDC27 or the new upgraded UHi, both the same price. But let's start with the differences by looking right down the barrel here. The UHi is right here and the original EDC27 is right here. And you can see those LED emitters are definitely different. On the UHi, there's two Nightlab UHi 20 LEDs. And on the original EDC27, there's two luminous SST40 LEDs. And the luminous versions are domed, as you can see, and the Nightlab versions are not domed. And yes, that's going to give each one of these flashlights a much different beam profile. And you'll see that once I take both of these flashlights outside and do a beam test for you. So that's the difference between the emitters. The other differences are the outputs. So the EDC27 UHi now has a maximum output of 3100 lumens versus the EDC27's 3000 lumens. Yeah, that's only a 100 lumen difference between the two, and honestly, to my eyes, I can't really see the difference. But where I can see the difference is the longer throw of the EDC27 UHi. 305 meters of throw versus 220 meters of throw. And that you can absolutely see the difference in beam profiles. The UHi is going to have a much brighter, tighter hotspot than the original EDC27. And because it has a brighter hotspot, the candela has increased on the UHi. 23,500 candela versus 12,200 candela. And we're talking the maximum here on turbo. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up on the screen right now the EDC27 versus the UHi lumens and runtime information. Other than turbo and high, they had the exact same lumen output on ultra low, low, and medium, 15, 65, and 200. The UHi now has 1100 lumens on high versus 1000, and of course 3100 versus 3000 on turbo. But the big difference are those throwing distances. Like I already said, the maximum 305 meters versus 220 meters. But they also improved the run times here as well with the exact same battery in each flashlight. 1700 milliamp hour battery. That's built in still, by the way. If you guys watch my review of the EDC27, you're going to know that's still one of my biggest negatives of these style of flashlights. But being a flat wedge style flashlight, you can't just go to the store and buy these type of batteries. So it's sealed for a reason, I understand. It still sucks though. But the new UHi with the same 1700 milliamp hour battery now has a 55-hour runtime versus a 37-hour runtime. Yes, that's on ultra low. These are max runtimes I'm speaking here. But that's still a pretty big improvement. 37 hours to 55 hours. I like it. And another big improvement they made with the UHi is the proximity sensor. Now this EDC27 I got pre-launch. So my EDC27 does not have a proximity sensor. You can see there is no little hole right there in between those emitters. So I can't really demonstrate the EDC27 with its proximity sensor, but you can see on the EDC27 UHi, right there, you can see right there on the bottom in the middle, there's the proximity sensor. But I can't explain to you what the EDC27 did, and it was a big problem with a lot of people that own this flashlight. Where if you turned on the EDC27 to high or turbo and got close to something, the flashlight would step down, but if you moved away from that object, it wouldn't step back up. It would stay in its step down setting. So if you're trying to use this flashlight to look through glass or anything like that, or accidentally get close to a wall and that light steps down, what you have to do is start stepping back up, get back to that level, and it might step back down again. It'll go back down, and then you have to constantly turn the flashlight back up to where you had it. I can see that being very annoying. But with the new EDC27 UHi, the improvement is when it's on, the proximity sensor will not go off when you get close to an object, as you can see. But if you turn it off, and you start close to an object and turn it on, such as if it's in your pocket and it accidentally turns on, it will dim right away. See that? So this is a huge improvement. So if you're looking through a window or accidentally get close to an object while it's on, it won't dim down. So that is a really smart change from Nitecore. And now one of my personal favorite upgrades on the new UHi, just because it has to do with user experience, is now they improved the half press on that on and off button. If you saw my review on the EDC27, you'll know that I wasn't the biggest fan of this on and off button because you have to full press to turn it on and then half press to cycle those brightness levels. And I said the half press just felt a little squishy. It's not pronounced. So sometimes I overshot it. Sometimes I didn't press it hard enough. Yeah, like right there. So I didn't really like that. But with the UHi version here, if I turn it on, that half press is impossible to miss. It doesn't feel squishy anymore. That half press is very, very pronounced. So I love that. They didn't change the buttons at all. The buttons look exactly the same, but just the internals, whatever they did on the UHi, they definitely improved that. And the last big update they made with the UHi is now they have brightness levels that can be pre-programmed before you turn on the flashlight. So on the EDC27, if you half pressed this on-off button, it didn't really do anything. It just basically showed you your battery life right there, and that's it. But on the UHi, if you half press, you can see you can pre-select what brightness level you want to start on. So if I want to start on 65, full press, and then starts at 65 lumens. Even though the previous Nitecore EDC27 didn't have that, you just had to rely on the memory here. So it just went back to the last brightness level you left it on. So 200 lumens, turn it off, turn it right back on, it went right back to 200 lumens. Now, of course, I'm a fan of the memory on the EDC27, but the EDC27 UHi still has that same feature. So if I turn it off and turn it back on, it goes right back to that 65 lumens. Except now on the UHi version, I can go ahead and pre-select 1100 lumens and turn it back on, turn it off, and if I turn it on again, it goes right back to 1100 lumens. It's great. So that's basically all the upgrades to the new EDC27 UHi from the old EDC27. So now let's take these outside so I can show you guys side by side what these beam profiles look like. All right, so I'm actually going to start with the EDC27, the original version right here. This is 15 lumens. Okay, nothing too special, but it gives you a nice idea what to expect with the brighter levels. You can see not much of a hot spot, more of a floody profile here. Let's go to low. Sorry, the first one was ultra low. This is 65 lumen low. And I'm sort of kissing that tree right there. Like always, I'll put up the distance between me and that tree. If I scan across, me and that barn right there. And I can see some eyes right there. It's probably a deer or a fox. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you're used to seeing some animals out here. Let's go to medium. There we go. 200 lumens. This is what I like to call the sweet spot. I don't know if you guys can see those eyes right there. He's keeping a close eye on me though. Oh, turn it off. All right, this is high, easily hitting that tree. And I'll give you guys a nice straightforward shot because I'm going to use this shot right here a little bit later to compare the beams side by side. All right. Try to get that as accurate as possible between both flashlights. Oh, there's a deer. Yep, he's a deer. Sorry, buddy. I don't mean to blind you. And now I'm going to go to turbo. So we're only going to get about 8 to 10 seconds of turbo. That 3000 lumens. So I'm just going to push this straight ahead. Actually, you guys can see that guy right there. So let's go. There we go. So you can see it's not a very sharp profile. Let's go ahead and follow this guy across. Oh, there we go. Easily hitting that bar. And see, you don't get a lot. It's going to step down after about 8 seconds. But you can go ahead and repress it. You can see only about 4 seconds there. 2, 3, 4. Jeez. All right, see you later, guy. And straight ahead again. All right, so you guys get a nice idea. Now you can see the color temperature here. It is definitely a cool white color temperature. Let's go to the 27 UHi. I had a little issue when I was testing this flashlight earlier, and we turn it on 15 with the beam looking a little bit greenish on lower levels with this Nightlab UHi 20 LED. But this is ultra low, so you guys can already see the difference in that focused beam. That hotspot is going to be a lot more pronounced and intense than the EDC27 version. And am I even hitting that tree? No, not yet. Not yet. But let's go to low. Man, that button, that half stop on that button is so much better. It's not even a little bit better. It's so much better. Now I'm hitting that tree, even on low, 65 lumens. There's the barn. Boom. There's medium, the sweet spot, 200 lumens. Easily hitting these trees here. I spend most of my time right here on medium. I rarely go over and use high unless I'm searching for something. But generally, this is all I need. I mean, look at that. But even that outer perimeter is a lot more pronounced. Right there. More of a crispier outer perimeter, brighter hotspot than the original. So that's the main draw. It's going to be the main draw of this new EDC27 UHi. And that's high. This is 1100 lumens. Boom. Look at that. So there's that. We face straight ahead. Okay. And now let's go to turbo. Wow, okay. So this is 3100 lumens. Already stepped down. Let's go straight forward. Step down. Only a couple seconds, yeah. So it's just a 3100 lumen burst, as you guys know. This is an 1100 lumen flashlight with a 3100 lumen burst with strobe. I'm not going to demonstrate strobe for all my watchers out there with sensitivities such as epilepsy or whatever. I'm not going to do that. And if I did, I would warn you first. So that's enough of this location. Hopefully you guys have a nice idea. This will definitely show you the differences in beam profiles. Now, let's take a little walk. So after seeing the beam demonstration, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer the EDC27 UHi or the original EDC27? And keep in mind, if you buy these on the Nitecore store, they're exactly the same price, but I know you can find the EDC27 a little bit cheaper right now on Amazon. So if you found this cheaper, would you go with the previous EDC27 versus the new UHi? For me, yes, price does play a factor, but I also want a beam profile that's going to suit my needs. So this is more of a floody flashlight versus more of a quote-unquote thrower. I mean, 305 meters is decent, especially for a small flashlight like this. I mean, not small lengthwise, but overall, it's a pretty minimal flashlight. It's a decent throw, but it's not a thrower by any means. But when comparing both of these side by side, is definitely improvement if you are looking for a flashlight with a little bit of throwing distance. But for me, it's the other improvements that really make this an upgrade, such as the upgraded proximity sensor, the upgraded on and off button with a very pronounced half stop, and the fact that you can pre-select your lighting level before even turning it on. I think that's a big upgrade here. So if the prices were exactly the same, for me personally, I would probably go EDC27 UHi. At 20 bucks cheaper though, do those improvements really make that much of a difference? For me, it does. But regardless which one you go with, they're both awesome flashlights. I love the wedge style flashlights. There's been a bunch of wedge style flashlights released in the last couple years, and the EDC27 was one of my favorites, especially with this OLED display. The one big thing I didn't like about either one of these flashlights is the IP rating, and unfortunately they didn't upgrade the IP rating on the UHi version right here. Is kind of why I didn't mention that when I was going back and forth showing the differences. And that was also one of my big negatives with the original EDC27. But other than that, I think it's a fantastic everyday carry flashlight. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the EDC27 UHi? Now, if you want to check out either one of these flashlights, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe and go.